What shape is the top?
A triangle base, but a square base.
It is a square base, but what is it? Prism or pyramid? It's a pyramid. What is the volume formula for a pyramid? It is not 1/2.
Oh, 1/3.
1/3 times area of the base times the height. So what shape did we say the base was? It's a square. How do we find the area of a square? We're finding the area. Length times width. This is a square. What is the length and the width of the square?
12.
12 and 12. You're good. Because it's going to be the same as the bottom. So 12 and 12. So 12 times 12. 12 times 12 is 144. So that's what we plug in for the area of the base. So we got 1/3 times 144 times the height of the whole pyramid, which is 10. 1/3 of 144 is 40 something. 48 times 10, because all we did was 1/3 of 144. So 48 times 10 is 480. Is that my final answer? No, not times. We're going to find the volume of the bottom now. We found the volume of the top. We're going to find the volume of the bottom. Then we're going to add them together. Is the bottom a prism or a pyramid? It's a prism. So to find the volume of a prism, you do area of the base times the height. It's the same thing except for no 1/3. So what shape is the base? Still a square, and it's still 12 by 12. So what is the area of the base? 144. Times the height of the prism only, so 9. $12.96, you said? All right, so what do we do with these two volumes? We add them. We get 1776, and it would be meters cubed. Other than that, we're going to talk about cones. It says volume of cones, but it's also surface area. So I broke out one of my cones. Where do we see cones in real life? Ice cream cones. Where else? Traffic cones. Where else? A party hat. Or a dunce cap, someone said this morning.
That's even dumb.
You're dumb.
What's the point?
What is it?
The gas thing?
No, the
A funnel?
Islam,
yeah, I've heard that today.
Islamic pillars that are.
You're going really deep with this. I don't know.
It's on the top.
I can make one with my
bad.
hand.
It's an AP thing.
Good job.
Because I have AP next hour. That's why I keep thinking out.
Well, why don't you ask Ms. University and come back to me? So, volume, listen. Volume is what fits inside. So if you look, if I try to fill this up with water, that would be the volume. The surface area will be all of the clear. Okay, so surface area, what's going to happen is it's going to show you what it looks like laid out. And we're going to find the area of all of this orange. Okay? Then we'll find the volume. The volume we actually already know how to do, because what does a cone look like that we've already learned? It looks like a pyramid. So guess what? It's the same formula as a pyramid. Throwing it out there. So the only thing you're learning new is going to be the surface area. Before you start filling in all of the things on this picture in the middle of the page, please only fill in the things I need you to, because other things are irrelevant. Everyone can tell that this is the base, it's the bottom, it's a circle. You don't have to write that in. What I do want you to write in, you already have the radius. I want you to label the height. The height is important. So the height right here. The second thing I want you to highlight. So we either get a highlighter or a red pen, something to that extent. So you don't need to be filling in all of that because you don't need to know that. So for your highlighter, the slanted height. It's different than the regular height. One you're going to need for surface area, and one of the heights you'll need for volume. So I would highlight the slanted height. Visually, how can you tell it's the slanted height?
It's slanted.
It's slanted. So label the sides, this is the slanted height. The bottom comes out. Alright, so we're going to talk about how to find the surface area. I saved you from, so again, this is what it looks like if you laid out a cone, just like I did, the orange. Theirs was larger than mine, but they're circle.
Sick.
So basically, how to find the surface area. How would you find the area of this circle? What's the formula for that? Pi r squared. So the surface area formula is pi r squared. That's to find the area of the circle. You're going to add it to pi times the radius times L. What do we think the L stands for?
Length.
It does not.
Slant length.
Slanted height. So please make sure you label that or it will not make sense to you. So that is the slanted height. There's no sense in knowing a formula if you don't know what the letters stand for. So obviously R stands for radius, but L will stand for your slanted height. So after that, we're going to do the examples on the bottom. Go ahead and write the formula on number 1. Surface area equals pi r squared plus pi rl. A way that most people remember, pi r squared is easy because it's a circle. Pi rl, what does that sound like?
IRL.
IRL, so whatever that means to you means it's something different than it does to you. But that's how I remember.
You don't
Sounds
know
cool.
what IRL is?
Yeah, I know what it means. Well, as of this morning, I do.
What does it mean?
In real life?
No.
No? Okay, whatever it means to you.
In Rockstar Life.
Okay, great. But in our fantasy football team, our league is called the IRL. So that's why I remember. But you can remember IRL for in real life. I don't care. So, surface area, pi r squared. So we're going to start filling in. Pi, what is the radius?
3.
It is 3. So pi times 3 squared plus pi times the radius, which is still 3, times the slanted height, which is 5. So are we going to use the number 4 at all? We are not. It's just there. So you can't type all this in or you will get it wrong. What you can do is, what's 3 squared? 9. Now do 9 times 3.14. 28.26. Do the same thing over here. 3 times 5 is 15. And then do 15 times 3.14. 47.1. And now we add. It's something 0.36. 75.36. And this is surface area. So what are our units going to be? Centimeters. If it's an area, squared. All right, number 2, try not to work ahead because there are 2 mistakes you could make on this problem. Go ahead and write in the formula. Pi r squared plus pi rl. A right cone has a diameter of 1.8 inches and a height of 3 inches. So when I go to plug in, do I need the diameter?
Yes.
Well, it can help me. How can I find the radius given the diameter? Divide by 2. So what's 1.8 divided by 2? 0.9. So that's for the radius. So pi times 0.9 squared. I'm just going to plug in for now. Plus pi times 0.9. Now I need to pause. I don't have the slant height. I only have the regular height. I cannot plug in the regular height. So here's what I need to know. What kind of cone is this? A right cone. Why do we think that matters? There's a 90 degrees somewhere. So here's what happens. We have a cone. There is a 90 degree right here. So what shape does this realistically make? A triangle. What kind of triangle? A right triangle. Which one of these represents the slant height? The hypotenuse. So we're missing the hypotenuse, the slant height. Do we have this piece down here?
Yes.
Yes, what is this? Yeah, how'd you find that? Yeah, it's the radius. So it's going to be 0.9. We already found that. Do we have the height of the whole cone? It is 3. So now we have two sides in a right triangle. How can we find the slant height, that third side? Yeah, the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. So I'm going to move this. We're going to do a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Because what is our goal to find? The slant height. So we can plug that in. Are we missing a leg or a hypotenuse? The hypotenuse. So which letter represents the hypotenuse? C. So that means 3 is going to get plugged in. And 0.9. And all of that equals c squared. 3 squared is 9. 0.9 squared is 0.81. All right, what is 9 plus 0.81? 9.81 equals c squared. So how do we finish solving for c? Take the square root. What is it? Yes, sorry, I thought you said it's a weird number. 3.13. So this is the slant height. So I don't need the height that it gave me in the directions. Not anymore. I'm going to plug in the slant height for L. So that would be 3.13. All right, so what is 0.9 squared? We already did that one. 0.81. What is 0.81 times 3.14?
2.5.
2.5 what?
4.
4. All right, what is 0.9 times 3.13? 2.81. 2.82. All right, and just keep it in your calculator and multiply it again times 3.14. 8.85. Last step, we add them. 11.39 inches squared. So why didn't I use the height they gave me?
Because that was the height. That was the slant.
It wasn't the slanted height. So then what did I do to find the slanted height? The Pythagorean theorem. What important word told me I could use the Pythagorean theorem?
Right.
A right cone. So that meant it was a right triangle, which meant the Pythagorean theorem. Then I found my slant height. So that is surface area. That should be a very new formula for you. We're going to move on to volume, which should not be new. We said the cone looked like what shape the most? A pyramid. So the formula is the same. You're going to write volume equals 1/3 times the area of the base times the height. So in that big blank at the top, 1/3 times the area of the base times the height. You do not have to write anything that's on the screen other than what I'm telling you. 1/3 times the area of the base times the height.
That's it?
Yeah, because it looks like a pyramid. It technically isn't a pyramid. Why is it technically not?
Sit area of the base.
It has a rounded edge. Okay, so technically it's not a pyramid, but it has the same formula.
Sit area of base.
Area of the base times the height, yes. So in the book, it actually plugs in the formula for the area of the base. Because what shape is the base of a cone? A circle. What is the area formula for a circle? Pi r squared. So in the book, it's going to say 1/3 pi r squared h. You can write that and memorize that if you want to, or you can just remember that it's a pyramid. So either one will work for you. So we're going to do our first problem. Go ahead and write in the volume formula. 1/3 area of the base times the height. So here's why students are getting these wrong today. How can you tell if it's asking for surface area or for volume?
It should ask you.
It literally will say it. So to know which formula to use, what could you do? Read the directions. So most students, that's what they're not doing. Don't be that person. We're going to find the area of the base. The base is a circle. So we're going to use, not 2, just pi r squared. You're okay. So pi, what is the radius? 2.2 squared. 2.2 squared is? 4.8, what? 4? And then times 3.14. Yeah, 2. So we plug that in for the area of the base. And then what is the height of the whole cone? 4.5. All right, so we're going to do 15.2 times 4.5 first. 68.4. Now divide that by 3. 22.8. That would be centimeters cubed.
Alright. Multiply it by the height.
I don't know what you're doing.
I don't know either.
Volume equals 1/3 times the area of the base times the height. So we need to find the area of the base. So pi r squared, what's my radius? 3. 3 squared is 9. 9 times pi is 28.26. And then what is the height of the whole cone? 4. All right, so multiply all that. What do we get as our final answer? Perfect. Cubed. 37.68 centimeters cubed.
Dang. What? Why is 4 the height and not 5?
5 is, 5 is the slanted
That's
height.
not what we wanted.
No.
Why did we want it? Oh, because
And
we only
surface
need that for
area.
Yeah.
Number 4, a right cone has a radius of 5 feet and a slanted height of 13 feet. So we're going to write the volume formula. 1/3 times the area of the base times the height. Can we find the area of the base?
Yes.
Yes. Area equals pi r squared. What is my radius? 5. 5 squared is 25 times pi is 78.5. So now we have 1/3 times 78.5 times the height. Do we have the correct height? No, we have the slanted height. But what kind of cone is this? A right cone. So again, you want to envision.
Ugh. That's not that bad.
It's really not. What's the radius? We already found it.
5.
The radius was 5. We have also the slanted height, which is 13, and we're missing the regular height.
That's pretty sick.
So how do we find the missing height?
You squared plus B squared.
Pythagorean theorem.
A squared plus B squared equals C squared, the Pythagorean theorem. But this time, am I missing a leg or a hypotenuse? A leg. Because which one is the hypotenuse? The slant height, which is 13. So we're going to plug in, I'm going to plug in H. You don't have to. H is for the regular height. Plus 5 squared equals 13 squared. What is 5 squared? 25. $13 squared is? Subtract 25 on both sides. We get 144. So what is the actual height of the cone? 12. Take the square root like normal, and we get 12. So I'm going to plug that in for the height. Sorry if you can't see the yellow.
Yeah, I'm colorblind. Wow.
Are you Mason now?
I don't want to be that guy.
Nope, be nice.
I mean, that guy's.
I'm recording. Be nice.
He already thinks I'm cool.
That's good. All right, so what is 78.5 times 12 divided by 3? 314. And that would be feet cubed. We got 2 more. Then we're done. The last 2 you have done before. We're just adding in a cone instead. It says find the volume of the composite solid. So we're going to find the volume of the top and add it to the volume of the bottom. What shape is the top?
Cone.
A cone.
That was an action.
Just put it down. Please don't touch it again. Okay, put it down
You want me to pick it up?
on the desk. Does a cone fit under a prism or a pyramid? Pyramid. So we're going to do 1/3 times the area of the base times the height. What shape is the base still? Circle. You're right. So we're going to do pi times the radius squared. So what is the radius? 6. So pi times 6 squared, which is 36. And then pi, 3.14 times 36. What do we get? 113.04. So we're going to plug it in. 1/3 times 113.04. This is where a lot of people go wrong. What is the height of only the cylinder? 4. So you can multiply 113.04 times 4, then divide it by 3. What do we get?
150.72.
Perfect. That is not my final answer. I'm highlighting it so I can find it later. Now we find the volume at the bottom. Does the bottom look more like a pyramid or a prism? Prism. What is the volume formula for any prism? Area. Good. Of the base times the height. And again, what shape is the base? A circle, but we already found the area of this base, didn't we? What is it?
113.
Perfect. 113.04. Because it still had the same radius of 6, we already found pi times 6 squared. Then times the height of the cylinder only, times 5. What is it?
565.2.
0.2, yeah. All right, and then what do I do with these 2 numbers? I'm going to add them. Add them together. What do we get as our final answer? Something 0.96. Right?
I got 592.
Sorry. Really? Yep, never mind. Derp. One says whatever. One says 72 and one says 20. That's my bad. So 715.92 meters cubed. Leave me alone. You guys say, is it chill that I chill? So leave me alone.
This is actually funny though.
Is it though?
I mean, they got like
you do the
over 3
fractions.
million in
Yes,
like
ma'am.
a month, so I wouldn't say that it's not fun.
Cone A and cone B are similar. Find the volume of cone B. This is actually not new. What is the formula for it?
Side 1 over side 2 cubed equals volume volume.
Volume of the first over the volume of the second. What side did they give you on the first?
They gave me 3.
They gave you 3. And then the second? 9. The volume of the first, this is where a lot of people go wrong. What is the volume? 15 pi. Do we have a pi button? No. So what could we do to find out what 15 pi is? 15 times 3.14, which is 47.1. So that's what we plug in. 47.1 over the volume. Now we're going to cube. So 3 times 3 times 3, which is 27. And then 9 times 9 times 9. 720. And it still equals 47.1 over the volume. What do we do next? Cross multiply. So 27 times V. What is 729 times 47.1? Did I do it right? Okay. And then divide by 27. $1271.7. And that would be feet cubed.